Hi Jo, how are you doing?
Hi Louise, doing good. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. It's nice to see you. It's great that we've got this technology in this day and age. At least we can connect with people, particularly with our line of work as well as hypnotherapists. So I've been given lots of questions by people, past clients, new clients, worries and concerns, and I thought it'd be really nice just for us to run through those questions together so that we can clear up any misconceptions about hypnotherapy and having hypnotherapy online in particular. So are you up for that, Jo?
Yeah, far away. Because I've been asked similar questions. We both are all the time. So
Great. So first question is, what is hypnotherapy, Jo?
hypnotherapy is a lot of people have got the misconception, unfortunately, about that hypnotherapy is a little bit like the stage hypnosis. That's all they've seen before. Hypnotherapy is about reaching a relaxed state where your unconscious and your conscious mind can work together to create a change inside. Whereas I see stage hypnosis, which is like people thinking they're a chicken. So I always promise my clients, I'm never going to turn you into a chicken. So hypnotherapy is about making a change. It's not a show. Stage is a show.
Yeah, and it's about using hypnosis, which is a clinical tool, actually, to make change and to make a real difference, isn't it? But how safe is it, Jo?
It's perfectly safe. I mean, hypnosis, it's not, although it's come from the Greek word hypnos, which is sleep, it's not the same as sleep. You don't become unconscious, and we are in a perfectly natural trance state. So we're in trance, in and out of trance all day, every day.
Absolutely. Television is a really good example of that, isn't it? Your mobile phone.
It's trance state. So if you can come out of it, it's not the same as sleep. You won't become unconscious, and it's very safe. And your mind's always in control. It's not like a mind control. People worry that you're and again partly perhaps because of the stage hypnosis, but they worry that there's a mind control thing. It's further from the truth. We as therapists help to get the clients into that relaxed state so that they can make those changes. But if there's a suggestion that we make to them that they don't like, they absolutely will ignore it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can choose to allow yourself to absorb that suggestion, or you can choose not to. Yeah. Sometimes people do resist, which isn't that helpful when you're trying to make suggestions, and they may be thinking, oh, this isn't working, or I'm worried it's going to do this or that. So I always say to my clients, just be open to suggestions of change. And if they work and resonate for you, great. So how does it work? What does it feel like to be hypnotized?
Lovely. It's nice, relaxed state, and you can become relaxed more quickly or more slowly. Clients tend to like the slower induction where you can actually relax and just let go of your physical tension. Let it go and let your mind go with it. Let it just flow. And put yourself into that nice trance state, and it feels so nice because us as therapists, we guide them to making the changes that they want. We guide them to relax. We notice because we're watching them all the time.
That's right. We're observing them, aren't we? So they're completely safe at all times.
And online, it's exactly the same. Being able to see them, we notice, if there's a movement or something, it means something to us, and we're aware of stuff going on in there, even if we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We're aware, making sure that they're safe.
Yeah, and that's part of our job, isn't it? So that they don't have to worry about that as clients. Yeah.
And it's a lovely feeling, and I like it myself. I have clients who come back and they don't even need any fixing, but they come back because they love the feeling. And I know offer relaxation therapy as well, which is
I
great.
do, yeah. Some people would just phone up and say, "Oh, there's nothing specifically that I want to deal with, but can I just come and offload and have a nice relaxing session?" Because the world is so busy. We're all so busy running around here, there, and everywhere. But not now. Right now, actually, it's a really good time to reflect inwardly, isn't it? Because we have got less that we are out and about doing. It's a great time for self-reflection.
And it's a great time to focus on making the changes that we might have put off. Now we've got time to do it. Now we've got time to actually focus and make things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what sort of things do you typically help with, Jo?
Oh, a whole heap of things. I try not to have a niche. I know that the marketing says that we should have a niche. We've got to have a niche. And I actually love the variety. It can be anything from smoking phobias to health, to things that you think is, not even possible. Uh, it's incredible the changes that we help people with. And, I've got a list on my website of some of the things, but there are so many more.
Yeah.
And I love exploring new things. It's a bit, yeah, let's give it a go. It's like, having, a generalist thing. I love it because I love seeing changes in people. It's the most wonderful feeling that there is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really rewarding. And I work with little children as well as adults, and I get a lot of reward from working with the little ones. And actually, you're working with the parents as well at the same time. So to see the results and to see the parents' appreciation and the change in the child is great. Yeah. So when you're hypnotized, will you be asleep?
And it's not the same as sleep. So the word hypnos comes from the Greek. Hypnosis comes from the word hypnos,
Yeah.
but it's not the same as sleep. You are not unconscious. You can hear everything that's being said, although you may not remember it all. You may or may not remember it all consciously, but you're aware of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You
drift in and out of an awareness. I usually explain it like that because time seems to go much, much quicker when you're in hypnotherapy, having hypnosis for some reason. Clients will come out of hypnosis and say, "Oh, that didn't seem like 40 minutes that you've been talking. It seemed more like 10. Do you find that when you have that feedback from your clients?
It's interesting because I've had so much varied feedback from clients. The different, that the time goes differently for them, and yeah, they don't seem to think it's that long.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll wake up and they'll think, "Oh, I feel, I felt like my arms were drifting," and I think I haven't done anything or said anything. This is what they've done themselves. I had a client whose chin goes numb. We've no idea why a chin goes numb. That's not me. But people, they feel very comfortable, very relaxed, incredibly relaxed, and they love that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we don't realize how much tension we generate throughout the day. So just take that time out for yourself to focus inwardly, to let go of the outside world and just to absorb yourself. It's kind of rather like meditation, isn't it? It's that similar feelings. Anyone's done meditation, it's like that. But then you've got the beauty of the story in the background.
It's a focused meditation on making that change rather than general guided one sort of thing. It's focused on their issue and making those changes.
Yeah. And that's a great point that you're bringing up, because I know that there's lots of fantastic generic stuff on YouTube, for example, but it's never specific to your client. So what I guess you're paying for when you work with somebody like myself or Jo, isn't it, is to think about the specifics that you want to get out of the session and to reach that end goal, whether that's tweaking those aspects of your personality that I'm very keen on looking into. When I first see a client, I do take time to explore these nuances of how they allow themselves to be affected by life and whether they worry about what other people think of them and that kind of thing. And so it's really great to be able to make these small suggestions of change that can make a really big difference.
Well, what do they want? Do they want to be like this? Do they want to be like that? How would it be? What would they like? So they come up with the suggestions and what they like.
Yeah.
And do the you take them to where they want to be.
Yeah, and using the client's own language is really important. That's what's going to resonate with them, isn't it? So that way, in all of that, it makes it a lot more effective. And then how do they feel physically after the session?
Well, that's a good question, because a lot of people, they worry about, oh, I'm not going to be able to walk, I'm not going to be able to drive, I'm not going to be
Yeah,
able to do things. But of course, it's a natural state, and yeah, you're going to wake up, you might feel quite relaxed and a bit, sometimes people feel a little bit lightheaded, but it's just, you know, we get them wide awake and alert, and they can go off and do whatever.
yeah,
Because
absolutely. Yeah,
all you've done is had your focus very intensely in one area, and all you're doing now are taking yourself gently out of that trance state into the normal world.
yeah.
And you're absolutely able to go and do anything afterwards.
Absolutely. But I usually find that people have a great night's sleep after hypnotherapy, because they've offloaded all that stuff, if you like, that gunk that's been in their mind, and sort of let it go or released it, and enabled themselves to just feel like a weight's been lifted.
Yeah, and often people's minds slow down, and they're not used to slowing them down. They've never done it before.
Yeah. So how many sessions, because this is a question that I get asked a lot, how many sessions do you normally take with a client to get that, to reach that end goal?
Well, that is very dependent on what it is, what the problem is, what the subject is, what, you know, what we're trying to achieve, and the individual. So there's a whole myriad. If you've got a problem that is reaching into every corner of their lives, you're going to need quite a few sessions. And I couldn't tell you how many. I do not normally see clients for hypnotherapy for more than a maximum of 6, I'd say 6. Well, not a maximum.
That seems to be the number that I will typically quote. And I do sort of a block of 5 sessions, for example, following a diagnostic. And that 9 times out of 10 seems to be enough to get someone from where they start at, from A, to get to that end goal, to B. And we work through all the things that are in the way, all the obstacles, and just take them out of the way. Very much like, I know that you're a coach as well, Jo, like myself. And what I like about being an integrative therapist now is that being able to draw on aspects such as life coaching and neuro-linguistic programming. I know we're both master practitioners in NLP, having trained with Richard Bandler, and it's such a great thing to be able to draw on all of these different strings to your bow, isn't it, to be able to really make a program for a client.
Definitely. And not, people say, how are you going to work? And I say, well, let's see what comes up. I don't have a list of things I'm going to do. Obviously you've got your official stuff you need to get done, but how I'm going to work with that client depends very much on what they present.
Yeah.
And I'm very, I will adapt it and tailor it completely to them.
Yeah. And so I'm very big on using cognitive behavioural therapy.
With another client, and I work with them in different ways, in ways that they will react the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people do need cognitive behavioural therapy if they are kind of allowing themselves to worry about things, for example. Then it's really great to be able to kind of remind them that you control your mind. No one else is going to control that for you. And it's just about retraining or reprogramming your mind to think in a more helpful, positive way. Yeah. So I'm really very pro using cognitive hypnotherapy as well as the more traditional clinical. And all of this can be done online, which is fantastic. I had a client the other day, and she was concerned just about the benefits as opposed to being face-to-face. What would you say, Jo? Is it as effective or not? What would you say?
Well, I think it can be as effective, and there are some times where you want to go and make that initial discovery, particularly if it's a health thing. If I get a health client and I need to assess them physically and see them, then I would perhaps want to say, look, I need to see you in person first to see what your capabilities are. Because I've had clients that have come in unable to walk, and I need to figure out if I can help them. And I would want to be there with them in case of anything.
Right. Yeah. So you would make a decision before you start whether this is something that you can treat online, because at the moment we are all in lockdown and online is the only way forward. But I would say for the majority of cases, online works equally as effectively. What do you think?
There are just a very few exceptions to that rule. Yeah.
What happens, Jo, though, if the internet were to drop off, for example? We know sometimes we can't control that.
I've been asked that again, and I think it's key. Just as you, when you have a face-to-face session, you've got to set up expectations of what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
As it's a trance state, we come out of that trance state naturally. So you're not going to be stuck in it, as some people worry. You're going to be stuck like that forever, you know, and we're not. You know, so
Absolutely.
it's a trance state. So just as if you were face-to-face and I stopped talking to you, you would come out of it eventually anyway.
So the worst that could happen is that you would fall asleep.
Yeah, and then you'd wake up eventually. So if you set up the expectations, know that if anything happens, if the internet, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you set up the expectations prior to the
Yeah.
trance, then people know sort of what to expect. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. And I always would say, if the internet were to drop, you will immediately wake up. And this idea, this suggestion, if you like, that that's what will happen, means that that is what happens. So it's all fine. There isn't anything to be concerned about. If the internet were to drop, if you lose connection, your client will eventually wake up. You're not stuck there.
I think it's important that the client is making sure that they're sitting somewhere comfortably, that they're safe where they're sitting, that they're not going to be interrupted and that sort of stuff, because there's nothing worse than being in somewhere where you're being totally interrupted all the time. I did have a client who refused to turn their phone off once.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it wasn't the easiest session to work with, and that is important. You do need to turn your phone off. And it's the same on face-to-face. You have to turn that phone off.
Yeah. And particularly when you're working online,
you're just not going to get the benefit of the session.
Yeah. And I always tell my clients to make sure they're not going to be disturbed when they're online, to ensure that little ones are kind of taken care of, or animals are out of the way and that kind of thing. You may have heard my dog barking in the background a little bit there, but we understand that, you know, this is where we're at right now with this scenario, and we work with it.
And even when we're working in a, you know, face-to-face, there are sometimes noises outside, and we have to deal with, as hypnotherapists, we have to know how to deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we do. Jo, it's been lovely chatting to you, and I look forward to our regular pods that we're planning on doing, aren't we, with various topics. If you do have any topics that you'd like us to specifically cover, do drop down a message at the bottom, and we'll do it for you. We'll bring it up as a topic and share good practice with you. So speak to you soon, Jo.
Bye, Louise.
Bye.